Welcome to the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, the show that puts the spotlight on the incredible women who fuel the world of motorsports. From drivers to crew members, engineers to fans, and everyone in between, we're here to celebrate the trailblazers, dreamers, and doers shaping the sport we love. Each episode, we share inspiring stories of females of all ages from every corner of the motorsports universe, past, present, and future. It's a journey through the seasons of life filled with heartfelt moments, laughter, and a whole lot of horsepower. So whether you're a lifelong fan, a racer yourself, or simply curious about the extraordinary women behind the wheel, settle in, relax, and enjoy a fun and uplifting ride with us. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, connecting and celebrating women in motorsports, one story at a time. Let's hit the track. Hello, everyone. This is Melinda Russell with the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. And my guest today is Rylee Hanson. Rylee, welcome to the show. She comes to us from Cordell, Georgia. So I'm so glad that we could connect today and have you on the show. So Rylee, would you start by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Well, first, I want to say thank you so much for having me.
Sure.
Appreciate it. A little bit about me is I'm 17 years old, 17 as of Thursday, and I'm a mini stock race car driver here at Cordell Motor Speedway in Cordell, Georgia. I have 4 dogs. They're all Shih Tzus, and my color is hot pink.
So, you know what's fun about that is I have a Shih Tzu.
I think you told me that last time.
Yeah, and he is just the best. His name is Crew, like Pit Crew. And do you have boys or girls?
I have 2 boys and 2 girls.
Oh, aren't they just the best dogs?
They really are.
They really are.
Can be a little bad sometimes, but I don't know what I'd do without them.
You know what? Our dog, I would say 95% of the time, does nothing to get into trouble. Once in a great while, he will be a little naughty, but really not. And I just tell everybody they're the best breed of dogs ever. So yeah, I absolutely love them.
It's a blessing. Mine can definitely be a little mischievous.
Yeah. Well, they each have personalities, don't they?
They do. They're all so different.
Yeah, for sure. So Rylee, tell me, how in the world did you get started in motorsports? Who introduced you to this sport?
So I grew up around ATVs, like always at mud parks. Like every year my dad would surprise me with a new ATV. Like I've had pink ones, we've had blue ones, we've had red ones, from 4-wheelers to Polaris Razors to Polaris Rangers, dirt bikes, everything. And we didn't really know about children in racing until in 2021 when we were introduced to Bandoleros, and my brother came home with one day. Like they said they were going to meet up with somebody who knew a little bit about racing, and they came home with a race car. And I immediately fell in love with it, but I was just too scared to get on the track. And about a couple months later, right into 2022, I was like, you know what, I'm going to give it a try. And just like that, my dad had brought home a second car, and it just took off from there. I fell in love immediately.
Yeah. And that was not that long ago.
No, it wasn't.
And so you've been racing Bandoleros then?
I raced Bandoleros up until early 2024, so 2 years.
Okay. And what are you doing now?
I'm racing mini stocks.
Oh, you said that. Yeah, mini stocks. And are you still at Cordell Raceway? Is that where you race?
Yes, Cordell Motor Speedway.
Cordell Motor Speedway. And do you ever travel with your racing?
We did a little bit with Bandoleros, and now that we're kind of getting into this mini stocks, we have hopes of going up to Southern National up in North Carolina, and we're hoping to build a dirt mini stock and head to Sonoya.
Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. I'm very excited.
Yeah, for sure. So let's go back to when you first started. What was the hardest thing for you to overcome? Like, what was the hardest thing to learn driving? Your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge was being aggressive. My dad would always get on to me, like, you just have to be up on the wheel. You just have to, kind of push yourself. I was always scared of getting into an altercation on the track. I never wanted to hurt anyone's feelings. And I think I kind of had that struggle all throughout Bandoleros, but when I got into the mini stock, I kind of just didn't have that fear anymore.
Do you think it's because of the kind of car you were racing? It made a difference?
I think it did. Bandoleros are like a really hard car to race, and I really realized that when I got into the mini stocks. They're just so small, and like they're so easily like to spin out and cause a wreck just because of how small they are. And I think that just kind of made me a little bit more timid to kind of race people really aggressively. But with the mini stock, I have more control over the car because it's a lot larger, and it's not going to spin if you make the slightest error. So I think that was kind of part of it. Yes.
Yeah, I can see how that might be the reason for it, for sure. So when you started racing the Bandoleros, and then now you haven't raced the mini stock yet, right? That's just coming up.
I did race it last season.
You
Yes.
did race it last season. Okay, so in either one of those, did you ever feel like you didn't fit in? Like there weren't enough girls, there weren't any girls, the guys didn't treat you very well, or did you get accepted right from the start?
Well, with Bandoleros and INEX, I would definitely say there's a lot more females, especially as the years have gone by. Even just in the last year, I've seen a boost in the amount of females joining. So I felt a little bit more accepted there. But with the mini stock, it is a little bit different. I am the only female in my class. So I do kind of feel like an outcast, sort of. And especially because I'm like one of the only children in the class. So it's definitely a different feeling. But I mean, it's not going to affect how I drive or anything. So.
No, and you can't let it affect that. You have to just go out there and forget how old you are, forget how old they are, forget that you're a girl and that's a guy, and just get in that car and just go for it. That's what you absolutely have to do.
Right.
Right. So, what do you look forward to the most about the season starting?
I look forward to just developing more as a driver and putting my name out there and just learning everything I can with this new car. It is so completely different from my Bandolero, and I'm just so excited to learn everything I can about it.
Yeah, for sure. So, what are you doing then in the off season to kind of prepare for that? Do you have like iRacing, or what do you do?
We do have iRacing, but I never really get on it. That's more my brother's thing. I like being hands-on. I'm always out in the shop working on the car with my dad, learning everything I can. Currently right now we're kind of rewrapping the car, and I'm out there helping with that. And we're also, last night we just started swapping my transmission. So I definitely like to be out there in the off season working on the car.
So you've been working on the car with your dad, and so that helps you learn a lot more about the car. So if something's not right, you can tell your dad.
Yes, and I mean, I think as a driver, it's very important to understand how the car works, like, how different setups affect the car, the way it drives, how different adjustments change the car. I think it's very important, and it helps you grow as a driver as well.
Yeah, I agree with you there for sure. So what do you think? What do you think success is? What does that mean? So I try to tell people success to me doesn't always mean how many wins do you have. There's a lot of other things that go on that you can overcome a challenge, or you can, I'm afraid to pass, or I've never raced this person good and then I did. So to you, what is it? What does success mean to you?
I think success goes hand in hand with growth. I think any growth that you have on and off the track is a great amount of success.
Yeah, that's true. And I see so many young ladies who are so much more mature because they've been involved in racing. And I would guess that's true for you too. What are some things maybe that you've learned because you were involved in racing that you may not have learned otherwise? At least not at this age.
Let me just say, racing has changed who I am, and for the better. I've always been such a shy, closed off person. I was very hard to like socially communicate. Was not very sociable at all. joining racing has made me become more of a social butterfly. I'm not so scared to go up and talk to people. Like I'll just go up and have a conversation with somebody now. And if you would have asked me to do that, 4 or 5 years ago before I got into it, I would have had a panic attack. I couldn't do it.
So what do you think? What made that change? What happened? Something clicked with you somewhere that turned you from an introvert to an extrovert, basically. What do you think that was?
I can't really put my finger on what it was. I don't know. I think it has to do with the driving. Like to be a race car driver, you have to kind of be out there. You don't see very many introverts that are race car drivers. I think being on the track and like learning to be aggressive, that was a milestone for me. I think that helped made me more sociable.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. The whole, first of all, you're racing out in front of a bunch of people, so
Right.
that's out of your comfort zone at first, and then you're meeting other drivers and you're meeting other people, and people come up to you at the track and want to talk to you, and so it kind of forces you to become an extrovert.
And almost everybody is just so friendly, so it makes you want to be friendly too. And you meet a lot of fans, and you learn to have good flowing conversations with fans, and I think that's part of it helped me.
Yeah, I would guess so for sure. So you go to school,
I
you
do.
ra- you race. Do you play any other sports?
I don't. I take college classes, and I have a after school job, and plus racing that takes up pretty much all of my time.
Yeah, absolutely. So how do you manage all of that? How do you make sure that you're not overly tired, you don't get sick? How do you keep all of that in order?
Well, I'm blessed to have a school that offers dual enrollment, which is college courses for high schoolers. And right now, I don't have to go to school till noon every day. I have two college classes online in the mornings. Um, and I'm able to do that work really quickly. Like on Sundays is usually the day I do it. And then I go to work for a couple hours, and then I come home. I usually get home around 6:30, and I'm usually out in the shop for a couple hours. Doing what we can with the car, and then I just kind of repeat the process over every day.
Yeah.
But
So
not having school a full day has definitely helped me out. I'm able to sleep in and just feel well rested every day, and it helps me be extremely productive.
yeah, I would guess so because that getting up early and going to school, I talk to a lot of girls that do play other sports at school, and they go to school, they have homework, then they have softball practice, and then they come home and they eat and they go out in the shop and they go to bed. It makes me tired just listening to them. So you do have an advantage where you have those classes from home. That's great for sure. Yeah.
Yes, very lucky.
So everybody has bad days at the racetrack. I know you have too. What do
Yes.
you do when you have a bad day?
Um, when I have a bad day, I like to just kind of, go home after we always go to Waffle House after the races. Let me say that. And that always just makes it better. Like that's, no matter how the day went, we're always going to go to Waffle House. And then kind of on Sundays, we like to recuperate, and we like to talk about, the bad things that happened, what we can do better, how we're going to, move forward from
Mhm.
the bad.
Yeah, and that's good. And you've kind of let some time happen in between, so you're not as emotional about whatever happened for sure. Yeah. So you sounds like you have a routine as far as I always ask, what's your race day look like? What do you eat? Do you always wear the same shirt or socks? Are you superstitious? So I already know you go to Waffle House. What else do you do on race day?
Um, on race day, I really don't have like a set routine. We kind of just go with the flow on race days. I mean, we always like to clean off our cars, and we like to load up the trailer that morning. But we just like to be very kind of as chill as we can be, because we know like once the day really gets going, like on track activity starts having, it can get pretty hectic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. So what's your favorite part of being involved in motorsports?
I just think the adrenaline rush it gives you, it's really like no other. Like I've talked to many people, and they ask me to like describe what it's like to be in a race car, and it is just like a feeling like you just can't explain. It's just amazing. It's that adrenaline that really keeps me going.
Yeah. Do you still get little butterflies in your stomach when you get in the car?
I do sometimes. I do get like pre-race nerves, but once like I hit the track, like it's just like I have my shield on and I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And it doesn't hurt to be a little bit nervous. That just keeps you on your toes for sure.
I think it's good to have a little bit of, nervous and anxiety in you. Keeps you from doing crazy stuff on the track.
Yeah, for sure. So, do you think motorsports is a good sport for girls to be involved in?
Absolutely. I would tell any girl that wants to be in motorsports to go for it.
Yeah. And why is that?
I just think that like it shouldn't just be catered towards men. There's no reason. There's no set like, it has to be for men. I think it's, equally for each gender.
Yeah, I do too.
There's
So,
nothing that says women can't be in motorsports.
right. So, have you made friends with any of the other girls that were racing, or, now this year you're not going to have any other girls out there with you?
I'm still friends with some of the Bandolero drivers that I raced with, and I still hang out with them like at the track.
Okay, so they race on the same night that you're going to be racing mini stocks.
Majority of the time, yes.
Okay, so that's good. So you still have some backup there for you, that people that have your back for sure.
And I
That's
still keep up with them on social media. Always like text them every now and again. Just be friendly.
Yeah, that's good. So do you have a mentor, somebody that you've looked up to in your career?
I would just say my parents. My dad, he puts so much work into these cars, and my mom, she does so much behind the scenes work, and they're really good at giving me good advice. I mean, even though they're not racers themselves, they still give me the best advice.
So tell me something that they've shared with you that's kind of stuck with you.
Um, my dad, with my whole milestone with just being aggressive, he's just like, he tells me this all the time. It just really sticks to me. Like, we're not here to make friends. We're here to race. I, it's always stuck with me. And especially when I got into the mini stocks, I think that really clicked finally.
Yeah, that's funny. We're not here to make friends, we're here to race. And he's right, because the friendships will come along with it, but you're there. It's not cheap to be there, and so you've got to focus on the task at hand, and then if you make friends, that's a bonus.
Especially like having to help work on my cars myself, you really realize how much money is put into it. And again, with the mini stocks, I learned that I can be an aggressive driver and still have my friends.
Yeah, that's right. So what's your favorite race memory? Maybe a couple of them, good or bad, that's happened to you along the way.
So my all-time favorite race memory was when I finally got my first win in Bandoleros, and my brother won the same night too. It was so amazing. Just the
That's
night.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Um, and then another memory I have was the first time being in the mini stock. It was just a practice night, and I got out there, and my car. I'll give you some background info. My car was actually still set up for Bowman Gray because that's where we got the car. Was from a guy who used to race in Bowman Gray. So it's set up for a flat quarter mile track, and I was just making laps. Like I didn't have like a competitive car or something. I was just doing what I could, and it was just so much fun. Like I realized, like I had a lot of bad times with the Bandoleros, a lot of different milestones, but I realized like there's so much more to racing. And my dad, he was just so proud of me that night that I really just pushed myself in that car, and it was a great night, really. It was.
Especially for your first night out there.
He was saying how like even though I didn't have a car set up for the track, I was setting really amazing times.
And that had to make you feel good.
It did. It really
Yeah,
did.
yeah, for sure. So, do you enjoy, like, when you first get in the car, do you have like a certain something that you think about, that you focus on the track, or what's going to be happening ahead? What are you focusing and thinking about when you get in the car and you're ready to go out on the track?
So I've also learned I don't like to think about what could happen. I just pray and leave it to God. That's what I've started doing. And don't get myself like all worked up about, what could happen, what might happen. Just leave it in the hands of the Lord.
That's very good advice for everybody, isn't it? Even for me driving down the highway.
I would tell that to everybody. Don't get yourself worked up. God's got your back.
Yeah. That's great, Riley. I love hearing that for sure. So, do you have autograph night? Do you have any little fans or big fans that follow you?
Um, when we have autograph night, usually I get noticed by little girls and they say how much they love my car. I always get the most compliments of my cars, like the pink and the blue and the designs we do, because we try to keep it unique. So I always get little girls coming and complimenting me on my car.
Yeah. And that's always fun. And they probably tell you that they want to be you when they grow up.
Yes, I've heard that before.
For sure. Absolutely. So, what about social media? How do you use social media to promote yourself, tell about your racing, that kind of thing?
We mainly use our Facebook, Hanson Racing, to promote our racing. My parents also use their Facebooks. I use my personal Facebook. And sometimes I get on my personal Instagram and share about my race day.
Okay. So, you go to school. What do your friends think about your racing?
Um, I don't really have any friends that know a lot about racing, but they do think it's very neat because they don't know anything about it, so they just think it's very unique, it's cool. They're all very supportive of me. At school, I'm known as the girl who races. So,
Yeah. And do they ever come to watch?
I don't really like my friends to come and watch me. I don't know. I just like it to be like a family thing.
Okay. Would it make you more nervous if they were there?
Think it would. I don't know. I think it's like a good bonding time with my family.
Yeah. And does your brother still race?
He does. He races mini stocks as well.
Oh, so you have to race against him?
I haven't yet.
Do
We've
you do you think you will have to?
Oh, this season I will, but last season we kind of ran like different races. So,
Okay. So how's that going to be racing your brother?
it's been so long since I've done it. I think the last time we raced each other was in 2023. So I'm definitely gonna have to get used to that again. But
Is he a clean driver?
yeah, I think so. He's like purposely put somebody in the wall, and neither have I.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, he doesn't want his sister to beat him, or he doesn't care. He's happy if you win.
I think we both know that, like, with the whole money situation, like, let's not tear up our cars.
Right. Right. Yeah, for sure. That's not something your dad would be very happy about.
So
So when you first wanted to race, what did your mom think? Usually it's the moms that are a little bit leery about letting their daughters race. What did she think?
she was all for it. They were all like just very supportive of me, excited and supportive. Yeah, she,
Okay.
she was not very leery about it at all.
That's good because she'd been around it. So that makes a big difference too, for sure.
I mean,
So,
she was very leery with my brother. Like, she was not the happiest when they came home with a race car, but
yeah. So I'm going to tell you a little story about that. So I have three daughters and a son. My son passed away in 2018, but he was the race car driver. And so we lived in Illinois at the time, and he graduated from high school, and he was 17 when he graduated, and he loved racing. And took his graduation money behind my back and bought a race car.
sounds like
And,
something to do.
and so he told his dad, and they actually had hidden it in a part of the garage that I really never looked at or never went to. And they had a big tarp over it and stuff. And I never thought about what was over there until, he was getting it out to take it to go race. And the shit hit the fan when that happened, because I was not happy that the 5,000 some dollars he bought a race car with. But what happens is, when it's your kid and you can't beat them, you have to join them.
Right.
So we went to the racetrack the first night. It was a dirt track, and he had like a mini stock or like a 4-cylinder car. My youngest daughter, who is going to be 37, but my youngest daughter was probably about 5. She sat on my lap, and when he came out onto the track, she covered her ears and started crying. And that's how I felt. That's what I wanted to do, but I couldn't do that because here I have my little girl sitting on my lap, and I didn't want her to see me crying. I had to be the brave one. So he started racing. That would have been in, let's see, oh gosh, he graduated in 96. So that was in 1996. And he got us into racing. And that's how I first really came to really love racing, because when he was little, we used to go to Quincy, Illinois, to Quincy Raceways and watch some friends of ours race. And that's where he got the bug. My husband and I were never into racing, but he got the bug and he never forgot it all through the school years. He played baseball, he played basketball, he played golf, but he always had that love for motorsports. And so, he raced on and off for all the years up until he passed away in 2018. And so that's where my whole family got the racing bug, was from him. But yeah, I was not a happy camper. Number one, that he spent that money on a race car. And number two, that he was going to race a car. Oh, no.
Well, that's honestly such a great story. I've never heard a story like that one. It's very interesting. And I'm
Yeah.
sorry as well.
Oh, thank you for that. Yeah, he loved racing, and he's like all of us. He got it in his blood. My two granddaughters raced up until this will be the first year that neither one of them will be racing, but they're in college. They got, they work, and so time goes on, and they do other things. So Rylee, is racing something that you think you want to do for a long time?
So I definitely want to be in motorsports for the rest of my life. My goal is to go to college, get a mechanical engineering degree, and hopefully pursue an engineering career in NASCAR. And the biggest goal is to become a female NASCAR crew chief.
Oh, that makes my day. I keep thinking we're going to have a female crew chief here one of these days. But so far, I don't see anybody that's up and coming into that role. So you better hurry up and get that education, and you'll be the first one. That would be so exciting.
Yes, I have big aspirations to get there, big goals.
Yeah, absolutely. What fun. Well, Rylee, is there anything we haven't talked about that you want to share, either about yourself or your racing, your career, your wins, anything at all you've learned, anything at all?
Um, I mean, I could tell about my Mustang that I drive as a daily driver. I haven't mentioned that yet.
Absolutely. Let's hear about it.
So, me and my dad went about 2 years ago. We started building a 2006 Mustang GT to be my daily driver. It's white and it was very run down when we got it. Like it had been sitting in our yard for years. And we decided that it was going to be my daily driver car. I wanted a sports car, and we talked about all the things we could do. So we got the transmission completely rebuilt, and we got a guy named Lido from Venezuela to tune the car. We also put BBK long tube headers on it, and we did a BBK off-road X-pipe muffler delete. Well, we did, sorry, BBK off-road X-pipes, and then we did a muffler delete on the car, and it's very loud. And we completely redid the interior. It was it was a very gaudy red color. We blacked out the whole thing. We put in a stereo system, subs. Redid the headlights. It looks completely different now. And when I first started driving last year, we took it to the drag strip, and I love the car. I get so many compliments on it all the time.
What do the boys in your school think about it? Are they jealous?
Some of them definitely like to talk crap about it, but I think it's just jealousy for sure.
I can guarantee you that those boys are jealous of that car. You'll have to send me a picture of it.
Especially because it's the guys with the V6s, and I'm like, just because your V6 is newer, it's not gonna outrun my V8.
Mm-mm. Oh, that's a great story, Rylee. I love hearing that. And the bond that you and your dad have over that car.
It was so much fun going out there and working on it and just building it together. It was a great bonding experience, and it taught me a lot about cars too.
Oh, I'm sure it did, for sure. That's going to help you the rest of your life.
Yes, it will. I'm
Yeah.
lot of things behind the scenes to help better, like, get a resume builder and better my career, my future career.
Yeah, you're a smart girl for sure. Rylee, I've really enjoyed talking with you today.
I've enjoyed with you as well.
Oh, thank you. Any last words that you want to share before we hang up?
I just want to say, thank you again for having me. Um, I've enjoyed it a lot, and this is going to help me get my name out there. So I very much appreciate you.
Oh, you're welcome. And anytime anything changes or you've got a win or you want to share what you're doing, if you tag Women's Motorsports Network, then you'll come up on my feed way higher than, I get so many messages. So
Okay.
tag yourself so that I can keep better track of you.
Okay, I would definitely do that. And to any girls out there, if you're watching this and you want to join motorsports, go for it. It's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, that's so true. Well, Rylee, thank you so much. Thank your mom for helping us get this going, and stay in touch.
I will, definitely.
All right.
Well, thanks.
That's it for this episode of the Women's Motorsports Network podcast. We hope you've been inspired by the stories I shared today and feel more connected to the amazing community of women in motorsports. Remember, whether you're behind the wheel, in the pits, or cheering from the stands, your story matters. And together, we're driving change and celebrating every milestone. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, leave us a review, and share it with someone who loves motorsports as much as you do. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates, behind-the-scenes content, and more incredible stories. So until next time, stay inspired, stay connected, and keep racing through life. This is the Women's Motorsports Network podcast, where every woman's story is worth celebrating.